This is a Lego video set, and this is a second Lego video set, and these are 4 different Lego video sets. I have not taken a look at these on the channel before, so this is going to be my first time discussing this failed Lego product line. Now, if you aren't familiar, Vidiyo was essentially a Lego attempting to make some sort of social media for kids with music, and anyway, more on that later, but there were different price points for sets. There were some minifigure packs. These were kind of the middle level BeatBox packs that were all kind of similar, which we'll go over. And then the larger ones were the stage sets, which varied in price as well. So let's start by unboxing one of these, and then we'll take a look at all of them. So unboxing hammer, activate. All right, so inside you get 2 unnumbered bags, a brick separator, the instructions, as well as a couple pieces for the BeatBox container itself. You get this kind of dome plastic cubby shaped thing, as well as the rear attachment for that piece. You get this L-shaped bracket there with some click hinges, and then just a plate that has the corners, a rounded plate, so to speak, like that. And then this is kind of a rubber bracelet, very similar to the Dots bracelet material. And 2 unnumbered bags, so we'll go ahead and build this off screen, and then we'll bring this one back together, and I'll also pull in the other 3 sets. Alright, so here we have our Unicorn DJ BeatBox, and I'll go ahead and bring in the other ones. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. The other 3, if you're interested, are the Alien DJ BeatBox, the Party Llama BeatBox, and the Folk Fairy BeatBox. So, taking a look at what you get about 80-ish pieces, 16 of which are these printed beat bits, which are pretty nifty. My grand plan for these is to use them as vinyl records in a Lego record shop. So that's a pretty neat idea. I'm sure I'm not the first to think of that, but that will also make it so that if I get any duplicates, that it'll actually make sense to have more than one of the same print. There's someone who basically ran all the schematics on how these are randomized. Essentially, they're in groups of 6, and then 2 are randomly pulled from each group depending on what set you bought, and then 2 are, I believe, exclusive to each individual BeatBox set. So that's pretty cool. And you get, of course, a few extra pieces and the instructions and a brick separator and the box. Now, on the back, you have a relatively simple dot style mosaic build, hence the brick separator. I like dots. I find them kind of relaxing to put together, but really only on this small scale. I think once you get to the larger mosaics, it's a little bit tedious, but this is a nice size for that. You get storage on the inside for the beat bits. All of them have that, so you can take a look at this one here. It's just stored inside right there, and I also went ahead and threw the extra pieces in there as well. Not only that, but each character also comes with their own accessory. So in the case of this unicorn here, we'll take a look at the minifigures in a second, but you get this nice purple record there that's printed, and again, these figures are really well done. Just whoever did the graphic design on these, kudos to them. They look spectacular. We've got some dual molded legs and side printing on the arms and the legs. This is just a fantastic figure right there. And the other figures are very similar as well. You just give this little box a twist and it opens up. Here we get another record, this one in dark blue. Mine is a little bit misprinted, unfortunately. But again, you get really great prints, dual molded legs. Not all of them have that, but many of them do. And I just think that's a really nice touch there. So put it together. I also think it's clever that these kind of look like over-ear headphones. It just looks like a, just like a face wearing headphones. On the back here, you get a UFO. There's instructions in each booklet on different ways to rearrange this. So you get a couple designs out of the box. This one right here has a palm tree. There's that. And the llama has roller skates and maracas. No side printing on the legs, but you do get a little bit on the arms. So I like the colors on this one. They're very vibrant and watermelony. And then the last one kind of looks like Lindsey Sterling. I'm sure I'm not the first to make that connection there, but either someone at the Lego company is a really big fan, or it's just a really odd coincidence, but pretty sure that's Lindsey Sterling there. Folk Fairy, no printing on the side, but you do get these really nice printed wing pieces, and so I feel like that more than makes up for that. But yeah, really great figures. Again, kudos to the graphic design team on those. And the BeatBits as well. Some of them are a little silly, but most of them are pretty fun. Some of them have like a little bit of that holographic printing to them. That's not the word for it, is it? But anyway, they shimmer and shine, and that's fun. So that brings us to the value proposition. These retailed for about 20 United States dollars, and if you're looking at strictly part per piece per part, which you should not be doing, because price per part is not a great measure of how good a set is, but judging by how I feel about them, these feel like they were maybe about $15 sets. Again, that's prices in USD. Because I feel similarly about the Lego Dimension sets. The Lego Dimension sets were very expensive for the amount of content you get, but you paid more because they included DLC. Now, these do not include DLC, but they do have connection to an app. And so even though they don't require the app, you are still paying for that app in the price of the set. And even though Lego has economies of scale, and they're able to spread the cost of development out over several different sets in the wave, at the end of the day, they have to factor that into the MSRP, which means that you are paying more for just the bricks. Because apps cost money to maintain servers and develop, and pay all of those people to run it. So $5, I guess, is what they decided was needed to maintain that app, which is no longer maintained. So what does that tell you? Well, that tells you that it wasn't very popular, which brings us to the elephant, or rather unicorn in the room, which is that Vidiyo was a pretty substantial failure. It kind of just fizzled out at the end, and there's a number of reasons for that, but I think the main reason is that it was just trying to be social media for kids, or TikTok for kids. I know for some that may be redundant, because TikTok is already for kids in their mind, but that's neither here nor there. But social media is already an oversaturated market. Heck, even Google tried to make one once, and they failed miserably. Yeah, remember Google Plus? That was the thing. But that, I think, was their number one mistake. They were trying to make a social media website for kids, because in their mind, kids weren't supposed to be using, or rather, I should say, kids under 13 weren't supposed to be using traditional social media, so they figured, why not make one for the kids that can't use regular social media? But the thing is, those kids are already on social media, and whether or not they should is something that's neither here nor there. But the point is, why would someone go to a different social media app that's more locked down and walled garden than the one that they're already using, right? No one's going to make that transition. And not only that, but Lego locked you in to the Vidiyo app. You could record videos in that. Right, I forgot to explain how things work. Let's do that real quick. So essentially, you would take your figure, you would take your BeatBits, you would arrange them as you please, and then when you recorded it with your camera, it would create different effects based off of each tile that you selected. that's a pretty cool concept. But again, it was locked to the app. There was no option to share, no option to export your content. You just were stuck in the app. And that is a terrible idea. I think that Lego Video would have done much better if it had just been a video creator app where you can kind of edit and build your own little music videos and then export them to the social media of your choice. That just sounds like a no-brainer. But of course, Lego being Lego wanted to keep everything contained because of safety, or more so because they probably wanted to lock people into whatever this was. But also, if you're going to have a music app, you need good music. They had a partnership with Universal Music Group, but that's only a handful of songs. So they really should have tried to partner. I'm sure they tried to partner with more studios, but music studios are really not keen on letting other people have access to their stuff. It's why copyright on YouTube is just such a nightmare to deal with, because it's just terrible. But the point is that they tried to make a social media app, and they should have tried to make something else, right? They could have had a really cool video creator app. That would have been way ahead of the time, right? Or at least before this stupid AI nonsense that we have going on now, right? I would much rather have a Lego noise soundboard app over an AI noise soundboard app. So, missed opportunity on that part. Or they could have, there's any number of directions they could have taken this in, right? They could have made a game, right? What if instead of being a video creator, social media wannabe, what if it had been a game where you like arrange your beat bits and then scan them and try and match like a beat of a song or something, right? That could have been cool, right? Arranging them, kind of, or designing your own music, right? Remember Mario Paint had a music maker, right? You could arrange them like this and maybe just have it create a melody. And now that I think about it, I'm kind of almost describing Drop Mix. So maybe that's why they didn't do it, because Drop Mix was a failure. But Drop Mix was an amazing app. And I guess if you're just making music, then you couldn't have called it video. You would have had to call it audio. And, well, video, for one, is a terrible name, because for SEO purposes, searching Lego Video, even if you type it like this, it's usually going to say, did you mean Lego Videos? And, well, the Lego videos are a dime a dozen on YouTube. I should know. I try making them and they get not very many views. But I appreciate those of you who stick around. So, any number of things they could have done, right? If they had partnered with Harmonix, they could have made a freaking cool rhythm game, right? Harmonix makes amazing rhythm games, and maybe they did, right? I don't know what happened behind the scenes. Maybe they did try and partner with Harmonix or other studios, and it just fell through, right? Negotiations can be difficult, but I'm sure that it's not the fault of the designers, right? The graphic designers aren't to blame for this, right? The people who design these sets aren't to blame for this. It's just someone in management on the design team decided that this was a good idea, and they failed to recognize that what works really well in focus groups doesn't always generalize to the general public. And so, yes, Lego Video was a failure, but in the end, we get to benefit from that failure because we can pick these up for relatively cheap, at least at the time of this recording. I'm sure they'll get expensive eventually, but pick them up if you want some cool tiles or some really, really snazzy minifigures. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. I look forward to reading them. And if you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like and subscribing. I'll see you next time on Board Games, Bricks, and Hobbies. Take care.